Sudan's Kordofan region is sliding into a familiar nightmare. Drone strikes, artillery fire, and mounting civilian casualties are reviving memories of the devastation seen earlier this year in Fasher, as fears grow that history is repeating itself. Speaking to NORRSUN News on Prime Time with Guy Schoen, international broadcaster and senior editor Sylvanas Karamera said that what is unfolding in Kordofan is similar to what we saw a few months ago in Fasher, warning that drones and heavy artillery are now targeting civilians, schools, and hospitals. His remarks come as Sudan's Kordofan region witnesses a rapid escalation of violence that mirrors the devastation earlier this year in Darfur, with civilians again bearing the heaviest cost. The crisis deepened on Thursday when a drone strike hit a kindergarten in the town of Kalogi in South Kordofan, killing 50 people, including 33 children, according to the Sudan Doctors Network. Paramedics rushing to treat survivors were then struck in a second attack, while a third nearby civilian site was also hit, rights group Emergency Lawyers. Both groups blame the Rapid Support Forces, calling the strikes a severe breach of international humanitarian law. Communication blackouts mean the real toll may be higher. International alarm grows as Kordofan deteriorates. Norway became the latest country to raise alarm over the spiraling civilian toll. The alarm is sounding for the Kordofan region in Sudan. I am extremely concerned about the reports of a large and increasing number of civilian casualties from airstrikes, artillery shelling, and summary executions, Norwegian Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide said in a statement. Eide warned that as the world is still learning the full scale of atrocities committed in Fasher, chilling news is emerging from Kordofan, citing reports of aerial and drone attacks that have killed large numbers of civilians. He highlighted the desperate humanitarian situation in the besieged cities of Kadukli, Dilling, and El Abeid, where famine is looming and civilians remain trapped. We cannot allow the besieged cities of Kordofan to become another Fasher. Eide called on the RSF to uphold its obligation to protect civilians and urged all armed actors to refrain from airstrikes in populated areas. He also appealed to countries with influence over the RSF to apply immediate pressure to avoid new mass atrocities. UN warns history is repeating itself. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, has also warned that Kordofan risks becoming another Fasher, after the RSF seized Bara in North Kordofan in late October. The UN Rights Office has documented at least 269 civilian deaths from airstrikes, shelling, and summary executions since then. The real number is believed to be higher due to widespread communication outages. It is truly shocking to see history repeating itself in Kordofan so soon after the horrific events in Fasher, Turk said. He urged states to halt arms transfers and demand that all parties stop targeting civilians. Human rights groups report retaliatory killings, abductions, sexual violence, forced recruitment, including of children, and widespread displacement. More than 45,000 people have fled in recent weeks. The war between the Sudanese armed forces and the RSF began in April 2023. After months of intense fighting in Darfur, the conflict has increasingly shifted into the oil-rich Kordofan states. Humanitarian access collapsing, famine emerging. The humanitarian situation is deteriorating at speed. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said 8 agencies are warning of severe shortages after sieges by the RSF and allied SPLM-N forces cut off entire communities. Civilians in Kadukli and Dilling are facing extreme hardship with dwindling access to food, medicine, and basic services. The UN has already identified famine conditions in Kadukli. Attacks continue in Babanusa, West Kordofan. Fighting has prevented farmers from accessing their fields, further eroding food supplies. Aid workers attempting to reach 1.1 million people in the region are operating under what the UN calls extraordinary risk. Fears of a new mass exodus. The intensifying conflict threatens to push the world's largest displacement crisis into a more dangerous phase. Nearly 40,000 people have fled the latest violence, most seeking shelter inside Sudan. But the head of the UN Refugee Agency, Filippo Grandi, has warned that deeper RSF advances towards major cities such as El Obeid could trigger a new wave of refugees across borders. If El Obeid were to fall or be surrounded, I am certain we would see mass exodus, Grandi told Reuters. Families fleeing Kordofan and Darfur continue to report killings, detentions, forced recruitment, and sexual violence. Some mothers have disguised their sons as girls to prevent abduction by fighters. Humanitarian operations remain chronically underfunded. A conflict spiraling towards catastrophe. More than 40,000 people have been killed and almost 12 million displaced since fighting began in April 2023, according to UN and WHO figures. Aid groups warn the real toll may be far higher. Both sides have traded accusations over additional drone strikes, including one near the Chad-Sudan border recently condemned by the RSF. The claim could not be independently verified. The army has yet to comment. Despite repeated international appeals, the pattern of siege, bombardment, starvation, and mass displacement remains unchanged. Rights officials warn that without urgent action, Kordofan could follow the same path as Fasher, a city scarred by executions, sexual violence, and the mass killing of civilians.